Good morning, Lance. Thank you for an opportunity as I stand upon the steps of constant change in America. We, as Black Americans, not the Afro-American who still makes jokes about the church, the preacher, and even the chicken that crossed the road. And if you're curious on why the chicken crossed the road, is to run away from the preacher. If he does not have his hand in the collection plate, he has his hand on the chicken's livelihood. Miss Kamala Harris, the piss-colored heifer, the scourge of those who do not want to be Black but want to be Afro-American, has made another, and I could say it was a Freudian slip, but no one makes any form of accident within the church, within the house of the Lord. My sister, who I love deeply, my daughters, which I cherish deeply, my mother, which I miss with every breath and every inch of my body, would say that I have crossed the line in making this comment about that Afro-American who still believes in God. The Afro-American who uses God as a stepping stone to professional elevation. The Afro-American who looks within the collection plate for change for that dollar that he puts in there. The Afro-American who uses the front pew and the back pew to work her way into the buck with the preacher has lost her ever-loving mind. He has lost his ever-loving mind. Our grandmothers, our aunts, and even the side-wide heifer that we climb through the window on Saturday night and be gone before midnight on Saturday morning. This individual will pander, will beg for the help of the ignorant as they become ignorant about their understanding of God. Miss Harris, who is not even worthy to use the initial VP, Miss Harris, who tells you that she's reared children but never had any children, a barren womb, who would lead your children into destruction in a global economy, a global world. Miss Harris, who seems to not even understand that the poise of a threat in Ukraine of the Koreans sending 3,000 or more troops to assist them. Now, I have never been one to hold the church in high esteem. After I have learned that the church does not have obligations to anyone other than the collection plate, is very insulted, will continuously be insulted as Miss Harris shows up at the church, as she has good Christian people escorted out the church by the police. This the woman you want to lead your country. This the woman who wants to tell you that it is more important for you to abort your children so those feminists can have elevation within corporate America, because that's what it's all about. They want you to abort your children so you can advance in corporate America, so you can have that sense of independence at the price of your children. We have very few days left to bring ourselves back to common sense. We have very few days left to recognize that the wizard, a.k.a. the piss-colored heifer, and her minions from HBU colleges, which we fully know that they hate black people, that they try to create another race, and that the grand wizard, Jesse Jackson, who suffers from Alzheimer's disease, but that's God punishing him for what he did as a preacher. That's what God did to him. And some will say, this man is crazy. This man is delusional. To believe that God would strike down the ultimate Judas who would kill a king, who would help kill a king, who would be like the 30 pieces of silver to gain the favor of J. Edgar Hoover and his minions. Ms. Harris runs with that group, that one of the oldest, one of the most established Greek organizations from Howard University would support a woman such as that. They are no longer the black authority. The only authority that they have is the authority over Satan, because only Satan would support a woman who would bring the police into church to get rid of them and tell them that this is not the place for God, that they're at the wrong rally if they looking for God, if they looking for any support. And like most dumb Christians, and yes, I will be disrespectful and call most Christians and those who attend the Negro churches, or should I rephrase that, the Afro-American church, because black people do not deal with Afro-American churches and Afro-American minions and Afro-American slaves and Afro-American trolls and Afro-American Negro college grads, HBU hoes. Most black Americans have had enough. We've had enough of you pandering, and we had enough of each and every time you want to disgrace black men that you go get the ultimate spear chucker. Yes, that's what I call Obama, because he's not my brother. He's not a black American. He has those who don't want to admit their legacy. That's who he is. He's the one that tells those Negro college grads that there's something special because they belong to Greek organizations and they steal from their people, and they have not committed to helping their people, but only helping themselves. The only way that we can be free of these individuals, unfortunately, as black Americans, we must turn to the white man to free us from the scourge of the HBU colleges. They were created to give our people an opportunity. Our churches sent us to HBU colleges with the understanding that we would keep the faith in the belief that hope was still alive. That's a Jesse Jackson. But he was not hope. What he was the turning against his own people. And he had, and he will suffer to the day he died with his son in the nut house, with his daughter-in-law in federal prison, with his wife who left him, and his illegitimate child, which he had out of wedlock, which the Democratic Party could not allow him to be president. And at the same time, his wife, who, like a good soldier from the church, because she married a preacher and she knew what she was marrying. Now, these good Afro-American Christians are the scourge of black America, that they will hurt you at each and every turn and then hide behind the Bible and hide behind God and say that God had told them to betray their race. That as we look upon the final day, we must ask you, if you care little to nothing or anything concerning your children, that you will not vote for this heinous woman, this evil creature, that even her boss don't even want to be messed up with. She could not tell the truth if her life depended upon it. But she will not tell the truth knowing that your life depends upon it. Be as we should be as Black Americans. We cannot say what is in the minds of the Afro-Americans other than hatred of their color. We do not know what is in the mind of HBU colleges and their hatred of their people and the lie that they told to benefit their social class group. This is true, that the HBU college is not a friend of Black America. If they were a friend of Black America, they would stop dancing and start learning from all this betrayal of the spear chucker and the piss-colored hoe. This is who they admire. This is who they tell you to vote for, because only ones who will benefit from the abuse and the misuse of your vote and the misdirection of your vote is the HBU hoes. They the ones who put us in the position. They the ones who supported Biden. They the ones who support each and every individual candidate that will keep them in elevation and will lower their people to the dredge and the bottom of the food chain. And as we get closer and closer, step by step, toward the polls, and lie after lie after lie after lie after lie after lie after lie that climbs down her thighs, you will recognize, hopefully, that your duty to your children as a Black American, because nobody give a damn about an Afro-American. Nobody cares about the Afro-American. The Afro-American, in taking the mark of the beast, has betrayed his people. He is the enemy. He is the Ku Klux Klan. Those who go to HBU colleges and claim that they are Afro-Americans care little to nothing about Black America, about Black children, about Black mothers, and about Black advancement. That they will do whatever it takes, they will believe, they will associate, they will honor. As we speak, they all trying to get some tickets to see the two piss-colored heifers, Miss Kamala Harris and Beyonce. All right? She can't even keep her man in check. All right? She can't even tell the truth about how she's handed from one celebrity to another celebrity in the midst of debauchery and sex parties. That's who you honor. That's who you respect. That's who you see as a worthy candidate. That she, the piss-colored heifer, who her days are numbered, and hopefully that when we go to the polls, that only Black Americans show up at the polls, and that the hose is turned on HBU hoes and Afro-Americans. Because where is Bull Connor when you need him to put them back in their place? They will continue being slaves. They will ask you to be a slave. They will urge you to be a slave, and they will tell you that it is in your children's best interest, as they do fear-mongering and tell lies to their brethren. Oh, that was a Freudian mistake that I made, because you must have something in common to be brethren and sisters. And since the black American man has nothing in common with the Afro-American man and the HBU hoes, that it is best that they both be eliminated from this process. So when you show up at the polls, you show up at the polls not signifying some HBU college, but signifying the black, the red, and the green. This is your opportunity to send a more powerful message than you ever had. That no longer will you be lied to, that you will be manipulated, and that you will not be acceptance of those races, the spear chucker and the piss-colored heifer, because neither one of them are black Americans. And at their leisure, the piss-colored heifer, a.k.a. the yellow liar, the spear chucker, who will tell you that you are less than a man, when he had an opportunity and he got shade for his color and he did nothing for his color. And each and every time they tell you that I'm not going to do nothing for black America. See, they use the word black when they want to separate themselves for their core group. They use the word black when they want to express something negative. But when they want to express their ultimate power, they call themselves Afro-Americans. And like most black people who are confused about their race, that's be without doubt. Let me make it perfectly clear that Afro-American is not a race of people. It is a political ideology which was created by Jesse Jackson and the Negro Klan to fool their people that they were advancing, to give their people an excuse for not accepting what occurred to them throughout history in this country. There is no shame. It is a strong legacy, even though it may be negative by others' perspective, because there is nothing positive about slavery. But what you can be proud of is the struggle that the black man has went through, and the pain, and the removal of his children, the stealing of his work, and what he has contributed to this country. And none of it came from the church. The church has been the great deceiver. The ministers who drive around in Mercedes now, because they done went from Cadillacs to Mercedes. All right, they got mega churches and they go to parties where everybody get a whole case of baby oil so they can play in the pews with Puffy. Play, slap, and giggle, if you understand that term. This is your boy, Mr. Political. And yes, I am over-opinionated, and others may even perceive me as being ignorant, uninformed, and somewhat jealous of the HBU colleges, because that's what they say when they do not have a strong defense for their shortcomings. For the last decade in this country, the black colleges have let black America down. The HBU hoes who portray themselves in blackface as part of a collective whole of a group of people, a race of people who have been abused, have took the mark of the beast, that they are using the same manipulation that white America has used in a negative form to destroy them. And now they believe that they are the favorite child. Well, when this election is over and you have no more support from black America, because we see those who graduate from historical Afro-American colleges, because there is no such thing as historical black colleges. Those colleges were robbed from black America. That the funds from the Negro College funds and the collections that were taken in churches to advance the race of people who are called black and not called Afro-Americans, because Afro-American is a political ideology and not a race of people. You will find after the election that your favor has lost, that those who have children that of the black race will do everything to keep their children away from you. You bring great shame to us. Your substandard education, your substandard building, and your uneducated, unversed, and unwise teachings has taught us that if you take the mark of the beast, if you listen to the preacher in the pulpit, which 9 times out of 10, he went to a HBU college. And that's why he's stealing from the congregation. That's why he's sleeping with the congregation's mothers. That's why he is doing all of the negative things, because if you ever in your life look for a sinner, you can find all of the heinous sinners in the world in church, trying to fool you that they have God's favor in their manipulation and the abuse which they do to you. And in these final hours, which we must make conscious choices, which will be better for us to take the mark of the beast of Afro-American or scorn that term, to put that behind us as we have put other negative terms that they have labeled us. The only thing is that if you take the mark of the beast of Afro-American and not hold tight to your lineage and your heritage as a black American, there is no shame in being a black American. If anything, you should be proud to be a black American, because each and everywhere that you look, from the internet to the history books to the media, only thing that an Afro-American has achieved is the deception and the denial of their people. That's the only thing that the Afro-American has achieved. There was no Afro-Americans in 1800s. There was no Afro-Americans who fought in World War I, World War II, Vietnam. The Afro-American has not achieved anything but shame and the ability to abort his children. That is the worst legacy that any group of individuals could ever be proud of. This is your boy, Mr. Political. And even though those may say that that was a rant, but it angers me. It puts me in a bad position as I go to the poll, because I was doubting whether or not I had the strength to not vote for Ms. Harris? Now, after she done had people arrested in the church and told them that God ain't at that rally, then I know I'm not voting for that woman. And if you have black parents, don't disrespect your parents by voting for that piss-colored heifer who do nothing but lie to you, who told you she ain't gonna do nothing for you. Is your self-esteem that low that you would gravitate to her when she told you she ain't gonna do nothing for you? And if our women, those black women who are left, those black women who do not believe that it is proper to use abortion as a form of birth control, and it don't make a difference how many times that you put some heifer, some Afro-American heifer on TV to tell you with her skin color that her child is dead, but her life was threatened, because within the state of Florida, we could really give a hoot, because all you got to do is close your legs. If he ain't your husband, close your legs. If you ain't in a committed relationship, close your legs. If you don't want to use birth control, how about you use the rhythm method and close your legs? That's how you deal with abortion. That's how you deal with abortion. But killing your children so white women can have a right to use abortion as a form of birth control, and you feel that you can kill your children. Well, I got bad news for you, and I'm going to give you a little tidbit. That if you look it up, 40% of the women who do not have their children and had their children taken away from them do not pay child support. So are you going to have the same zealous and hatred that you have for the man for not taking care of his child, but you have respect for a woman who won't pay child support when the children are taken away from her, and she supports abortion? If you have a deep regard and respect for that woman, then you're a sick individual, and you must belong to one of them churches. This is your boy, Mr. Political. And yes, I have said things that may one day I might regret. But today, as the sun shines, I am proud of each and every statement. This is your boy, Mr. Political, and I am out.
LanceScurv.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.